This is a talk entitled Evangelism and the Evangelist. Evangelism and the Evangelist. And it's a talk I didn't get to give today because I was supposed to lead this workshop on evangelism, but the students just seemed to understand the concept so well. Two students prepared the talks and they just delivered it so faithfully, so clearly. I thought they don't need to hear anything from me, so I didn't deliver it. But I'm recording it now just for my own benefit, I guess, as a kind of archive in case I need to refer to it in the future. And for you, if you're listening to this, maybe it might help you as well. So evangelism and the evangelist. I'm doing this as an audio, so I'm looking at my slides and you won't be able to see the slides. So I'm going to try to describe them to you, so bear with me. The first slide is a picture of the BTS McDonald's meal. It's causing quite a stir on the internet around the world because everyone wants to buy this meal that's essentially just a McDonald's meal with the BTS logo on it, and it's crazy. It's also causing all kinds of problems because so many people are buying it and they're breaking quarantine, that kind of thing. But on this slide, on one half, I have BTS, the band, the K-pop band. On the other side, there's this McDonald's meal. And you kind of wonder which is selling which. Is BTS selling the meal or is the meal selling BTS? And it's the idea of selling that I want to introduce to our thinking about evangelism. Now, I can already hear my conservative brothers and sisters protesting that this is worldly or this is dangerous. But hear me out. There is this guy named Guy Kawasaki, and he was the Apple evangelist back in 1983. And so this was like 30, 40 years ago. And his job was literally to be an evangelist for Apple products. So to get people to not just buy the computers, but to tell them how great it is, and to get them to tell their friends how great it is to own an Apple product. And he says it's very easy to evangelize something that's great, but it's also very hard to evangelize something that is crap. Forgive my English. And at the heart of this strategy, approach, evangelism, is the evangel itself. It's the gospel. It's truth. It's something that's good. It's not a technique whereby you try to dress something up and spend lots of money to make people think that it's good. Because he says if it's crap, it's bad. It's very hard to do that. But the key to doing evangelism well is the gospel. This message of God that tells us that Jesus Christ died for our sins, that changes our lives completely inside out. If it's really, really good, that ought to drive our evangelism. Now, he says it's easy, and I'm not sure that it is, but it does make it easier, in that you place all your trust and the power of the gospel and not your powers of persuasion. It's not your ability to craft that sermon or to speak in a persuasive way, but actually you're trusting in the fact that this is such good news. I want people to hear it, and that when they hear it, they will be able to tell that this is life-changing, this is good. So it's very easy to evangelize something that is great. That's the first point. But the second point is this: if you can't illustrate it, you don't understand it. And the essence of an evangelistic talk is illustrating the gospel. It's making it more understandable. It's almost painting a picture of the gospel in a way that people really just get it. And the point is, you have to get it first. If you can't illustrate it, you don't understand it. There is this video of Francis Chan, who's a pastor who was in California, and I was in Hong Kong, but years and years ago. This is a really old video of him giving a talk with a balance beam, one of those things that you see in the Olympics. The gymnast stands or balances on this balance beam and does somersaults. And at the end of it, they jump off the balance beam and they're judged. They're given a score. They go, they lift up their arms and the judges give them a score like 9 out of 10, that kind of thing. And it's a very funny video because he is clutching for his dear life to this balance beam. And he's going, oh, this is so scary. I don't want to do this. I just want to play it safe. I don't want to do a somersault. And then at the end of it, he lifts up his hands and goes, and said, yay. It says, imagine if a gymnast did that during the Olympics. How would the judge give a score on that performance. Imagine if Jesus Christ comes back and looks at your life, and all your life all you're doing is just clutching to this beam, playing it safe, not taking any risks. How is he going to give you a score as the judge of the universe? And I thought, he does this much better than I. Please do watch the video. But again, he illustrates a point in a way that you really get it immediately. You have to take risks. It's not easy. It's sometimes painful, but it is worth it. And most of all, you understand that he gets it. If you don't get it, you won't be able to illustrate it. But if you yourself understand the gospel, you are so gripped by it, you'll have all kinds of ideas that come from you. You don't have to go on the internet and steal someone else's, like Francis Chan's balance beam thing. You yourself will constantly thinking about how does this apply to me, and it will just come out of you as you talk to your friends in a way that they will understand, because at the very least, they'll get that you get it. You understand it. So 2 things so far I mentioned, number 1, about evangelizing something that's great, that makes it really easy. If it's true, it's true. If it's good, it makes it easy to tell the gospel. But secondly, it's your own persuasion of the gospel. Do you understand it? If you do, then you will tell the gospel. So it's knowing the gospel, it's telling the gospel. So those are just the 2 flip sides to evangelism. It's knowing it, knowing that all the power lies in the gospel, not you. But secondly, as you trust in it, you will be able to tell and live out and give evangelistic talks, but also be able to illustrate the gospel in your own lives. Just as a last word of encouragement, don't worry, be crappy. Don't worry, be crappy. Again, I copied this from Guy Kawasaki, who copied this from Bobby McFerrin. If you know the song, don't worry, be happy. Well, he says, don't worry, be crappy. That is, don't wait till you're perfect before you start telling the gospel. I'm not saying that you should preach badly or preach crap, but I'm saying that almost every talk you give from now till you get better is going to have a little bit of crap in it. It's going to be imperfect. You're going to have problems with it. People are going to give you criticisms, or you might not be happy with it. But don't let that stop you telling your friends, practicing giving these talks, trying to get better, because that's how you get better. By growing your knowledge of the gospel and knowing and growing in your application, in your illustration of the gospel, in your lives, in your talks, in just your conviction. So don't worry, be crappy. This is Evangelism and Evangelist, the talk that I didn't get to give this afternoon. Thanks for listening. Take care, and God bless.